Everywhere you go, it's just lashes, lashes, lashes. And I need the good kind, the one that makes a big, bold statement on your face even before you have entered the room. And it's not just Hollywood anymore. It is everyone, everywhere. It is office wear, it is home wear, it is party wear, it is essential wear. And with us today is a lady who has not only made it her day-to-day fare, but she's expanded into an entire realm of aesthetics because that is one booming industry right now. Let me introduce you to Claire Dottin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. And do I even have to tell you your lashes are fabulous?
Thank you.
It's the question you get, like, who does your lashes?
Always.
That's the question now. This is standard as any.
It is.
You know, we get a doctor recommendation, we get a lash person recommendation.
Exactly. That is definitely what it is now.
No, your story is incredible because you probably started as far away from the beauty and aesthetics industry as a person could want.
I did.
Architecture, Claire? Architecture?
Well, my dad was in the construction industry, so I guess that rubbed off a little bit. And all through school, my intention was to pursue a career in architecture. So I did the program at BCC. I left to go to New York and study. And I got there and I decided, nope, don't like it anymore. But my mom insisted, you need to come home with a degree in something. So I'd done so many art classes that then it switched to being the graphic design program. And I loved it.
Okay, because you would think that in a city full of skyscrapers and exotic buildings and historical and new things, that architecture would have been pretty, pretty in your face. And
It was. I still love architecture, but again, another art form. So I think I've used my love for art in any form to create my new career.
Okay, but then you moved into graphic design. So what is that like actually?
When I went into graphic design, I'd always been an art student from Queens College. And when I did the art program at City College in New York, I then came home and I started working for an advertising agency.
Okay, so at this stage, I mean, most of us have probably seen what a graphic artist does, if it's not the Nike swoosh or, the little Coca-Cola swirl or whatever it is, that's the kind of work that we see you all doing on behalf of big brands, that they'll later go on to trademark. But the point is, somewhere along the line, the graphic designer had to come into play.
Yeah.
So what would your day-to-day life look like?
When I worked for GHA, one of my main clients was Esso. So I did a lot of their programs. If you drove into a gas station and they were running any of their programs throughout the year, that's definitely what you would have seen. I also did a lot of work for Barbados lotteries. So many of their advertising I would have done as well.
Okay, so certain things that we just kind of drive by and see, we're not even thinking, did Claire do that? Think about it now though, like, did Claire do that?
Yeah.
But then that's your second pivot, but I don't see you doing graphic design today, so something else happened.
Yes. So while doing graphic design, I decided, entry-level salaries are never what we all want them to be. You can't do as many things as you'd like as being a new person in the workforce. So I decided to add lashes. I wanted to do something on the side. So it was just intended to literally pay my student loan, buy clothes, and pay for that tickets.
Very basic goals.
Basic goals. But it grew and grew and grew till 3 years later, I was actually able to leave my day job and make it a full-time one.
Now let's back it up just a little bit, because I don't think someone wakes up one morning and says, I should do lashes. I'm sure that somewhere under there, the undercurrent was beauty, pretty things, a genuine interest in makeup.
Always.
What was that like?
So back being in university again, my cousin and I always had this routine. On Friday evenings, we met at home. We'd go to the mall, have a few drinks and a few appetizers, and then we stumble over to Mac. And we bought stuff that half the time we didn't know how to use, but it was pretty.
Isn't that always the case?
That was the underlying thing. We always wanted the pretty stuff. So again, that was always my interest. Anything beauty related, I was there if I knew how to do it or not.
So basically, things that we do casually, you just kind of like took it up a notch.
Yes.
And I know in our conversations, there's this ominous cousin lurking in the background who's always subtly just pushing you forward.
Always pushing me in some direction or another.
Yeah.
When I first went to university, I wanted a side job. And she encouraged me to take my tuition money and go to bartending school. And I thought my mother was going to kill me, but it worked out in the end. I actually was able to work part-time when I was in university as a bartender and working in nightclubs.
You see, because people got to drink. So somebody needs to know how to mix it forward.
Exactly. I'm old enough to enter, but not old enough to drink.
Mhm.
It works out. It's fine.
Perfect, right? No one's getting high on their own supply. So I like that. But this same cousin actually told you should probably consider this as well. And for whatever reason, lashes seems to be what you had landed on.
It is. I guess she saw the progress that I had made over the 3 years, and she knew how much I loved it. And she suggested, why don't you do it full time? But of course, that's not generally the direction we're taught to go in. Mm-hmm. So of course my argument was, but my job got pension and my job has paid vacations. Like, what do you mean? And she's like, Claire, these are all things you can do for yourself. And I finally did take her advice. You know, it was a situation where I still lived at home. I had no kids. So this was the perfect time to take the leap.
So here you are now with this opportunity and you're thinking, all right, this entry-level life is really not working out for me. At least let me make a go of it myself and determine, you know, how much I can make, how much I can do, and pay for my own vacation.
Exactly.
But lashes, I don't think was a huge thing in Barbados. And I suppose for me, that's where the bravery of your decision comes in, because it's not like, you know, getting our nails done, we've seen that. Maybe even getting a facial, we've seen that. Lash extensions?
Lash extensions. And this is where I have to be honest. When I first heard of lash extensions, another friend was interested in starting doing the service. And I told her, I was like, well, nobody's ever going to pay for that. That's why they have mascara. Like, nobody's going to pay all that money. So I'm literally eating my words right now. As I've made a full career out of doing lashes. But yes, it was not very popular a few years ago. 10 years ago, it was very rare. But as time grew, everybody started getting in it. Who wanted them very short in the beginning would come back and be like, let's go longer, let's go fuller.
You know,
they're addictive. They're very addictive.
They really are. The truth of the matter is that the first time I had ever had an eyelash strip, just a strip, put on my eye for a party, I thought to myself, whatever this look is, I need to get it back. And I need to get it back regularly. I can see my eyes for the first time. Your face just takes on this whole new look.
Whole new look.
And it goes beyond the look, because I think it's the overall confidence that a person walks around with. And I know it sounds funny, but the truth is, when you have a fresh set of lashes,
nothing like a fresh set of lashes.
Nothing.
I always tell clients, when you start, it is most definitely a personality thing. Mm-hmm. So start small, get accustomed, but it'll definitely change along the way. You probably want to upgrade by the 2 appointments later. Like, let's go a little longer, let's go a little
longer, fuller. Make it rain, make it rain. Well, let's go a little broader now, because if you think about it, the lashes is just but one element of a growing aesthetic industry.
It is.
What do you estimate that women globally spend on lashes a year?
It's definitely in the millions and high millions. There are obviously a lot of different options out there. The brand that I represent, Novalash, has been in the industry for 15 years, and they are the only physician formulated brand. So definitely it's an investment, but definitely making a lot of money, not only for the service provider, but everyone involved.
So let us know what that means, being a physician, what did you call it? Physician formulated. Meaning what?
Sophie Mercier, the CEO of Novalash, she's actually a cosmetic biologist and cosmetic chemist. Sorry, I'm microbiologist.
Okay.
So she has done the science behind the brand. There's a lot of science behind Novalash, the adhesives, how the lashes are applied. It's all very technical and very scientific. The idea is to maintain healthy, natural lashes. So even if one day you get up and for whatever reason you want to take them off, and I'm sure that's never gonna happen, you will still have your healthy, natural lashes under there. And the idea is to be able to maintain them all the time. Your lashes need to grow in as well. So it's never to cause any long-term damage or any damage at all. The idea is just to keep replenishing as your lashes cycle.
Now, Novalash has grown to be something very personal and professional to you, because I noticed that along the way, things just keep falling into place. So you went from being a consumer for your business from Novalash, now you're the distributor.
Yes. So I started the business just as a regular artist, and a few years later I was offered the position as trainer, and I started off as the trainer for St. Lucia. Shortly after that, I applied as brand ambassador, because Novalash does have several programs and they are very rewarding to their artists. I applied and I was successful, and at the same time then I was offered Barbados as my territory as well. So basically I represent the Eastern Caribbean. A year later, I once again representing the brand as a brand ambassador. I was offered the position then as distributor for the region.
Wow. Now, it might sound like a silly question, because, you know, if I was into computers, I would think, oh, maybe you go to trade shows.
Yeah.
Or if I was into film, definitely go to trade shows. Are there trade shows?
They are.
Yeah.
So 2020 has been a little bit of a sad year.
What a time to get your lashes done.
I know.
Make yourself feel better.
So it was funny. In March, I was actually on my way to a trade show in New York, and it got canceled mid-flight.
Wow.
But annually, I go to trade shows in New York, Orlando, Vegas. There's some in Fort Lauderdale. There are several different cities that have them. But those are the ones that I usually go to. And Novalash is well represented there, as well as the rest of the beauty industry. So any leader in the beauty industry that you're looking for will be at these shows.
Now, as a business owner, how important is it to be at these shows?
It keeps you on top of the game, because you definitely see what is changing. There are always trends in anything. So what's the new trends? Length in lashes, fullness, types of lashes. For instance, Novalash offers 3 different types of lashes. So there's classic, there's American volume, and there's London volume. So all of that would have evolved over the last 10 years for me. You get to see all these things at trade shows. Anything new that a company is launching, that's where you want to be.
So you mean like London volume gives you that, what, 1960s power?
So that is the mega volume of
I
lashes.
could see it the minute you said it. I'm like, I bet it's that power.
Yes. Very twiggy.
Yes,
full.
twiggy.
Yes.
It's exactly what I saw.
Yep.
And American is what, more full,
So American
softer?
volume is a lot softer, more everyday, but again, it was formulated to make sure that there's no damage being done, because the idea is that you attach one extension to one of the natural lashes. So this was the healthiest possible way to develop it without causing any damage, by adding multiple fibers to one lash.
Ah, okay. So you get that nice full, soft look.
Thick
and
fluff.
fluff. That is awesome. So how often do you think we get to introduce new ways of doing lashes in Barbados?
To be honest, I've been in the industry for 10 years, and in that time, the last 2 have been developed. It was 5 years after I first started doing lashes that American volume was introduced, and London was introduced last summer. So it doesn't happen often, but obviously, again, there's a lot of research that goes into anything that Novalash offers. So you could guarantee it's the best of the best.
And I guess in a culture like ours, which is pretty homogenous, we like what we like.
Yeah.
You know, we like what we like.
And people get stuck.
Yeah.
Case example, me, I still love classic lashes. I love doing volume on my clients, but personally, I'm a classic girl.
I like fluff. Love a little fluff. I don't know. Just gotta have a little fluff going on.
Value, convenience, we got it. 50 stores and services, yeah, we got it all. When it comes to you and your family, it's here in Haggett.
Now, Claire, I understand that lashes is pretty much the bedrock of your business, Fabulash, but you have since expanded into other forms of permanent makeup or semi-permanent makeup, depending on how you look at it. What is it, and what else do you specialize in?
Well, permanent makeup covers not only brows, eyeliner, we also do lips. So when I first started, it was only the eyeliner, and eyebrows that I specialized in. A few years later, I was actually offered the position again as a trainer, but I was told I would need to learn lips, which was a bit terrifying for me.
Learn lips.
Yes. Tattooing lips somehow freaked me out a little bit. The idea of possible all this blood. Claire doesn't like needles or blood. So the idea of doing permanent makeup for me was a bit strange. But I embraced it. I accepted the challenge. And funny enough, I actually prefer to do lips now.
Really?
It's not something I get to do often, but it's most definitely one of my most enjoyable procedures.
Because, okay, me personally, I'm thinking look to my lips, I'm like, I don't think you need anything added. But what would drive a person to say, listen, I need something done to my lips?
So some of the clients I've had in the past have said things like, my lips have no color.
Okay.
They look very pale. I look like I'm ill. I want to add some color to my face.
Okay.
So we've done that. Others may not have very much definition. We've been blessed with a very visible vermilion line. Some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
So that, again, adds definition to the face and adds some color as well.
So if I wanted that enviable Rihanna heart, like, yeah, that's enviable right there. That Riri heart is so enviable.
It is. So it will be a bit more of a camouflage working in that case,
Yeah.
but yes, it's still possible.
Okay, so just needed to know. And the thing is, we only say today that you don't get a lot of that done. That's probably until word of mouth, no pun intended, spreads and the people realize, maybe I want something a little bit more defined. I want to see what's possible.
That's true, because the same thing started with the brows. When I decided to take Fabulash full time, I thought to myself, lashes can't maintain an entire business. There needs to be something else to back it up. So I embraced doing the permanent makeup, even though I'd been suggested several times by my mentor, learn how to do it, come let me teach you. And in the back of my mind, it was like, no, Claire, don't do blood,
don't do
needles.
Yeah.
But then I was very glad I did, because it was completely opposite from what I expected it to be. And in the beginning, brows weren't very popular. Some people wanted to do it. What I found surprising was, as much as brows are very important to a younger category of people, older clients, more mature clients were the ones coming to have it done.
Interesting. So where you thought your market was, it didn't actually rest there.
No, it did not. Yes. So again, but over time, people got to know about the service, know about the possibilities, and that's how that grew as well.
Here's something that I am not hearing in all that we have discussed, and I'm just curious. What is your business background? Because I'm hearing about business explosion, business expansion, business, and I'm thinking, well, did she say that she did business?
So my business background is going to good friends and family who know better than I do. I have relied on the help of others who are more schooled in these areas. I did one semester of accounting at UE, and I passed again by the grace of friends. So
this column here then?
Exactly. So especially as my business grew throughout the years, I definitely turned to friends and family for good advice on how to do things the right way.
Because often what I'm learning throughout this series is that people go about it differently. Some people will research the book binding off of the topic before they venture in, and that's fine. Know as much as you can. Some people just kind of say, let's dip a toe in before we dive, no problem. And some people say, well, I've watched this series and I've followed this particular career path. In other words, everybody's pivot is different.
It is,
but yours seems to just constantly fall into place and fall into place. I'm thinking, how is she doing this?
I have no idea, but I hope that it continues to fall into place and just keep going with the flow.
So now that beauty is definitely where you are, do you actually see yourself adding anything to your business acumen?
At the moment, I am not sure that I'm adding anything else, but the way things have gone, anything is possible with me. I surely didn't think I was going to be the distributor last year, and that has definitely grown and been a great experience. So you just have to wait and see what else is possible.
Well, you know what? Speaking of curveballs, COVID must have thrown you a significant one. I must tell you,
sure did.
lashes was not my number one priority during COVID.
It was nobody's number one priority, even though I did get a few phone calls. What was funny, I got a little nervous. I got a little panicked the week before the actual shutdown, and I called the clients we had booked for that week and was like, look, I think for the safety of all of us, we're gonna close and we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Right.
A couple weeks turned out to be a lot longer than I expected. And obviously in a business setup like ours, services bring money in. So there's nothing happening if we're closed. So that was a bit of a rough patch. But it definitely was brighter as far as classes. A lot of people expressed interest in doing courses. They all were saying, you know, my job has been affected, or I work in the tourism industry, or I'm now seeing the need to have something else in my back pocket. So that definitely got a lot more interest and a lot more activity going on.
Because as you started to grow as a trainer, did you start to feel like, you know, I could actually grow to enjoy this as well?
I did. When I first started, which is still the case, I am not great on camera. I am terrified of speaking to crowds. So I was a bit nervous, but definitely when you get into the classroom and you're sharing something that excites you, it's easy to pass on the information to somebody else that is equally as excited to get on board. So teaching has definitely been a lot easier and a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be in the beginning.
Well, that's a great thing, because now you can add that to your business acumen too. Like, all else fails, you might have some little L's putting on the lashes while you're showing other people how to get it done in their individual territories. So in terms of leaving your beauty mark on the industry, what is the one thing you would want people to say about Claire Dottin, Fabulash, and what impact you have had on them?
I'd like to think that they always get great service and they enjoy my company here. As I always tell everybody, lashes again are very personal, and there's so many people now offering the service. It's no longer the small market it was when I started. So there's definitely competition, and I embrace that. But I definitely want you to enjoy the experience when you come to Fabulash.
So tell us about Claire outside of the beauty studio. I mean, what do you do? What do you get up to?
Well, COVID has kind of put a spoke in my wheel, but definitely traveling is one of my favorite things to do. Fortunately, because of work, I used to get to do it pretty often, and I am a big foodie. So traveling and food go hand in hand. I get to experience all kinds of different cuisine anywhere I go, and even locally. Now can't really go anywhere, so enjoying the local restaurants.
Claire, thank you so much for sharing your time, your expertise, your acumen, your dreams for the industry with us here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are now tuning into The Pivot, make sure you look back at all of our former episodes, and we're going to have some new ones for you coming up as well, because you know this is a place where we come together to seek clarity, form a community, and make a connection. So until the next time, we'll have another Pivot.
Eskimo. Value, convenience, we got it. 50 stores and services, yeah, we got it all. When it comes to you and your